Hey everyone, we're going to continue down the road in 7.5. The first theory was about alternate angles. We're now going to take a look at corresponding angles, which they also changed the name of in the previous version of Numbers Space. They were just called F-angles, just as in Dutch they are called F-hoeken. Want de vorm van een F komt hier weer in terug. So, in this version they are called corresponding angles. Overeenkomstige hoeken zou je kunnen zeggen. How does this work? Well, here we're going to take a look at forms which look a lot like an F. And in those kinds of shapes, where we again have parallel lines, you will find that the corresponding angles are the same. What are the corresponding angles in this case? Well, that are in this case A1 and C1. Okay, so A1 is equal to C1, which also means that A2 is equal to C2. And if I flip this thing around, you could also say that A4 is the same to C4 and A3 is the same to C3. So sometimes you will find pairs of angles which are now the same. There are some examples here as well. This one is equal to this one. This one is equal to this one. So here the F is flipped and turned around, right? This one equals that one. This one equals this one. As long again as those two lines are parallel. So here is an example. If it is 90 degrees, then this one is also 90 degrees, right? That's how we draw the letter F. And sometimes we can make them a bit more disguised, right, in a more elaborate figure like this one. But still, I can say that this angle is now the same as that one. Or I can even turn them around, and sometimes it gets even more difficult to find. However, or I can merge things together, right? Here I have an F angle, so this one equals this one. Here I have an F angle, this one equals this one. If I just put these two pieces together, yeah, then I have something like this, where still those two angles are the same, and those two angles are the same. The only thing where you have to watch out for are things like this. Here are no F angles, and I still call this F angles here, right? Because previous year I called those F angles. So sometimes you hear me say F angles. I will try to call them the name that the new version calls them as well, and that means corresponding angles. So here there are no corresponding angles because those two lines are not parallel, which means that those two angles are not the same. Yeah, and then the book already starts with giving you exercises about Theory C, in which you're going to combine everything we know up until now. So again, here you have all the rules which you can use. And there are even more, but those are the rules that they say that you should at least know. For example, things that they don't say here are for example, when you use the property of a quadrilateral or a triangle. Sometimes we can use the property of an isosceles triangle or of a rhombus, right? That are also rules that we can sometimes use. Still, always put those rules that you use inside of brackets after your calculation. Let's do one together. In this example right here, angle P is 30 degrees and angle Q is 82 degrees. Furthermore, RS, this line, is going to be the bisector of angle R, and they also give you that PR is parallel to ST. Calculate angle S2. If I may give you one tip, which I think you can use quite a few times, and also can be very handy on the test, when they give you this information that certain lines are parallel to each other, be on the lookout for corresponding angles and alternate angles, because that's some kind of hint that there is a chance that you have to use those kind of angles. So right here, again, sometimes it's nice to first make a plan. I don't have a separate slide for that. I thought I did. So what would be the plan here? Well, are the things that I can easily calculate, and how can I use them? Well, if I take a look, for example, I can quite easily calculate the whole angle R, because that's inside of triangle PQR with P and Q being given. If I know the whole angle R, I can also calculate R1 and R2, because they are going to be equally in value. Does that help us? Do we have a lot to do after that? I personally don't think so. Why not? Well, I just gave you a tip. Search for corresponding and alternate angles. And in this case, you will see that S2 right here is equal to R1. So in this example, we're not using the corresponding angle, we're going to use the alternate angle. I think in the examples that I'm going to show you on YouTube, other elaborations, you will find corresponding angles, of course, as well. So that, I think, is going to be my plan. If you do not find this plan in one go, then try to do it in steps, right? Oh, I can calculate this, then maybe I should. Sometimes not the quickest way, but at least get you somewhere. So here, I say angle R12 is going to be 68 degrees. Right, let's also go back to laser pointer. 68 degrees because of the angle sum in PQR. And angle R1 is going to be half of that, because this is the bisector, they give us that. The last piece that I have to write down now is this one. Angle S2 is equal to angle R2, or R1, sorry. R1 is equal to S2, which also is equal to R2, but okay. Which is 34 degrees. Which rule did I use? Alternate angles. Are there sometimes multiple ways to get to the answer here? Yes, sirree. There certainly are multiple ways. So if you check those kind of exercises in your answer book or your elaboration book, take a good look if you find the same values, because sometimes you can take a different path to the same answer. Okay? Practice this a lot. Remember to write down which rules you use. I'm going to be very strict about that on the test as well. If you forget those all the time, you can do the best you do, but you will lose out on a lot of points, even maybe getting you to an insufficient. So always write down which rules you have. And if you forget which rules you have, remember those here are already quite a few of them. And otherwise make a summary at the end of this chapter, where you write them all down and give an example of them. Okay? Then I'll leave it for now by this. The next thing we're going to take a look at are conjectures and proof, which are only a small part of this chapter. I think the most important part is about this corresponding and alternate angles. Good luck to you all.